Now open Mary, Our Lady of Peace Mausoleum in Flushing, New York. Secure your family's future with 10% down, no taxes, and 0% interest financing for up to 10 years on pre-need crypts and cremation niches starting at just $25 per month. Protect your loved ones with the gift of pre-planning. Visit them today at Mount St. Mary Cemetery. Call 718-353-1560. That's 718-353-1560 or go to ccbklyn.org to learn more. That's ccbklyn.org.
A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC. Breaking news, WABC.
And numbers just coming in that confirm a lot of things that President Trump has been saying. He's saying, look, they're emptying out the jails, the prisons across the country, these other countries, and sending them to America. Well, these are some stunning details. ICE just releasing a little bit ago, get this, 425,000 non-citizens that are convicted criminals have entered our country during the Biden-Harris administration. 425,000. Among them, 13,000 have been convicted of murder in their home countries. These people have been released into the U.S. They are not in custody. And also 15,000 also that have been convicted of sex offenses in their country and released in the United States. Those are stunning numbers. And joining us now to talk about all of this is Kari Lake, of course, running for Senate there in the state of Arizona. We love Kari Lake. Kari, your reactions to this as Kamala Harris, of course, is in Arizona at the border today for the second time in 3 years.
I'm furious. I think I speak for every Arizonan, and this is absolutely treasonous. It is an insult to the American citizen, to our country, and it's despicable that they've allowed this many people in that are criminals and dangerous. You know, you said it there, 14,000 convicted murderers, 16,000 convicted rapists, and 425,000 criminals that are roaming our streets right now. This is just unbelievable, and it didn't have to be this way. And my message to these people is don't get comfortable, because starting in January of 2025, pack your bags. We're sending you home. You cannot stay. We will not allow this kind of a crime against the people of our country. And Rita, we're paying for it. That's what adds insult to injury. We're paying to put these people up. Here in Arizona, our rent prices have soared because we have to now compete with all these people who've poured across. President Trump says 21 million. I tend to believe his numbers over the numbers coming from the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. We're paying to put these people up in hotels and apartments. And my opponent, Ruben Gallego, who's a rubber stamp for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, has voted with them 100% of the time, has voted to give these people asylum and the ability to vote in this upcoming election. It is absolutely despicable. It's a crime against the people of this country, and we're not going to let it stand. We're going to send these people back home so that we can save our homeland.
Ed Cox for Kari Lake.
Kari, Donald Trump knows his history. You cannot forget Castro's Mariel boat lift, where he took all the criminals and unwanted people from Cuba and shipped them to the United States. And that is exactly what a lot of these countries are doing. It is not unprecedented, that's in the back of his mind. I have no doubt about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's even gone so far as to say, it's diabolically brilliant. If you think about it, you think of the biggest drag on any country, and it is, violent criminals. He said they were emptying insane asylums, and they're all coming here. And unbeknownst to so many Americans, just going on with their everyday life, like, Lake and Riley, who goes out for a morning jog, this young woman who has her whole life ahead of her, a nursing student in Georgia. Little does she know the man she's going to encounter is a killer, a rapist, who's going to end up bludgeoning her to death. This is such a crime on the American people. I can't even express my anger enough without using profanity, and I don't want to use profanity, but there aren't words to describe how upset I was when I read those figures today. And since they're coming from the administration, it tells me they're probably even higher than that because we really don't get straight numbers from them on pretty much anything. Look how they lied about jobs. They overestimated the number of jobs they created by, just 818,000. They said they created all these jobs and then they revised them months later and said, oops, we kind of overestimated by closer to 1 million jobs that really weren't created. So this administration is dishonest. I think this is criminal what they've done at the border by tearing it open when President Trump had it locked down and secure. They came in on day one, hour one, minute one, and opened it up and not only invited the world in, but when the world started pouring across our borders, that wasn't enough for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and my opponent, Ruben Gallego. They then created an app to send more people over. And then they started flying people over so they wouldn't have to come across the border. It is just treasonous is the only word I can come up with for what they have done to this country.
You know, I am so angry too, Kari Lake, because when I see these numbers and you think about the damage, like you brought up, obviously, you brought up Laken Riley. I think of Joycelyn Nunguri in Texas. I mean, think about 14,000 people who have been convicted in their home countries of, you can imagine, probably the worst of the worst. They're in America. They're roaming free. Sex offenders. And like you said, 15,000. Imagine the damage that those individuals can do. And many of them gang members, as we know. We've seen these horrible numbers. We saw what happened in Aurora, Colorado. We know what's happening there in Arizona. This to me, I agree with you. It is really treasonous. It's shocking.
Well, and it's not just crimes against adults, it's crimes against children as well. We've been seeing that over and over. And not a week goes by where I don't see a headline of a child sexually assaulted or hurt by somebody who's here illegally. And it's got to stop, and we have to vote. This is why this election is everything. We've heard it before, the most important election, and this is really could be the last election. If we don't vote these people out of office, we won't have anything left of America. This isn't Democrat versus Republican. We're beyond that. This is Americanism versus communism. And they're trying to turn this country into a third world nation. They're trying to, the people who are coming across, by the way, that we're putting up and giving housing, giving, these EBT cards, like food stamp cards, basically, their cost of living is nothing to them. So therefore, they're willing to work for peanuts. And then the people, the hardworking American taxpayers who are footing the bill for it, they're watching as their wages remain stagnant or get driven down by the millions of people here willing to work for next to nothing. It's in so many ways, it's not just affecting our crime, it's affecting our economy as well. We're having to compete with people for housing now, which is driving the cost of housing up. And as I said, depressing our wages. And you know how bad it is in New York City. New York City doesn't even look like New York of yesteryear. It looks like, you have to watch your back. It's not safe to be on the subways. And the people being affected the most are middle class, working class folks, Hispanics, Black Americans are being hurt the most. They are being replaced by these people coming over. Their jobs they're being pushed out of their jobs and replaced by people who are willing to work for less.
Absolutely. And Kari Lake, before we let you go, also, we were talking about this earlier in the week about this decision by, it was a judge, I believe, there in Arizona who decided, was it 98,000 people that were non-citizens are allowed to vote? How could this be?
Well, the truth of the matter is we don't really know what their status is. These are people who've been here. The truth is there's probably closer to 500 to maybe even 1 million. This is according to a lawsuit that's pending right now of people who are invalid on our voter rolls. So that could mean they're here illegally. They moved, they died, they don't live at that address anymore. And we're trying to get them to clean up the voter rolls. They came forward and said we located about 98,000. The worry was that many of these were people who could possibly be here legal. They have been voting for a long time, and most of them were Republican voters. And so without being able to do more investigation of it, just throwing them off the books because our election officials didn't do a good job of ascertaining if they're here legally, it is believed, according to our AZ GOP chair, that these people are here legally. They just kind of fell under this loophole that happened after 1996, before we started keeping records the way we do now. So I think it was with abundance of caution. The judge said we don't want to disenfranchise legal voters. But it just goes to show, Rita, that we have to do a better job. We've got to be cleaning out these voter rolls. People come and go in Arizona all the time, and the fact that there could be anywhere from 500,000 to 1.2 million invalid entries on our voter rolls is unconscionable, and it shows that our election officials just haven't been doing their job with cleaning the voting rolls.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. Well, keep us posted, Kari, please.
I want to say one more thing about Kamala Harris. I hope that when she comes to the border wall later today, and by the way, she's planning to stop very late in the day. I think she wants this whole thing to just maybe hit maybe only the evening news. She wants to make it a small news cycle so she can say she went to the border, like touch her foot down and say, well, I was at the border. I hope she notices that in the areas where we have the big, beautiful Trump wall, people are not pouring across. It's only in the areas that are open where we had the materials to build that wall in Arizona, and she sold them for pennies on the dollar. We had $325 million in building material for that wall, and she gave it away. And now our state is overrun. Our country is overrun with many criminals. Fentanyl is killing our young people, and the cartels are in control. You know, good job, Kamala. You really screwed things up, and that's why we're going to vote you out of office in November.
Yeah, powerful statement. I cannot believe what they have done to our open borders. It is really astounding on so many levels. So many levels. Kari Lake, we love you. We wish you so much luck in your Senate race. You got to come on again soon. We love you.
Thank you. We need help. Head to KariLake.com. We're being outspent by my radical Marxist open borders opponent. So if you can spare $5, help us out. We got to get ads on and let people know how radical his plan is. It is an open borders, sanctuary city type of guy who wants to defund the police. KariLake.com,
everybody. Thank you, Kari, so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.